number 5. So this is kind of the next step of this thing on the guitars. So we basically did the first 3 riffs were all focused on our quarter note rhythms, different variations of that. Then the 4th riff, I showed you the how to play 8th notes kind of all the way through. Now what gets really cool and makes it sound really interesting is if you have a pattern and you mix those two. So that's what I'm doing with this number 5 pattern. So sort of basically the first part of it is just similar to what we just did. But I'm leaving off the 8th note on that very first bass note. So I'm just going to bass, then I got to go to my second bass note, and I'm going to hit the 8th note, next bass note, next bass note. So you're kind of going boom, boom, chugga, chugga, chugga. Let's say that. That's a good way to explain that rhythm. Boom, chugga, chugga, chugga. So that's riff 5, measure 1. The second measure is just the same exact thing as riff number 2. So you're going to do that. And once again, I like to talk about those subdivisions because this is where you have to use subdivisions. If you aren't thinking of the whole thing in 8th notes, then you might do something like, right? Because you're not counting it all in that 8th. So you want to think boom, chugga, 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 boom, chug, boom, chug. So we're gonna go boom, chugga, 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 boom, chug. Lift your hand. So that's subdivisions, you guys. If you can't, I guess you can't count while you play the harmonica at the same time, but it's good to think of that 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So you count those 8th notes when you're first learning it, and that'll help keep everything even, hopefully. Yeah. But that's the second pattern, and you can take those. So once you start to get the idea of it, you can make up your own patterns. You can mix, like I did here, kind of mix 2 of the ones together. There's lots of possibilities.
All right. So number 5 is basically bringing everything together. It's like number 1 was sort of working out the right side. Number 4 was working out the left side. Now we're going to do the heavy lifting with both sides. And that's one part of it. So we're going to take the ooh, ee, ya, and then add in the chord. And if you say the phrase ooh, ee, yahoo, ooh, ee, yahoo, I like to use the word who to denote an exhaling sound, an exhaling chord. Ooh, yahoo. So you have to really know how to breathe through this, or you're going to find yourself very quickly fatigued. Ooh, yahoo, ooh, yahoo. And not only that, but we're going to bring in something magical that is really special with the harmonica, and that is what I call the dirty, slightly bent 3. And we're going to really, you should do this with tongue blocking. It would make no sense to try to play this any other way. We're going to play whole 3, inhaling with the tongue blocking, which is by itself a really square, super light blue note. It's really wimpy sounding. We're going to play it dirty, which means add in a wee bit of whole 4, and then lean on it a little bit, make it a little bit flat so that it's a note, ideally, that you cannot find on a piano keyboard. And then when we play that slightly flat with the ringing 4, it creates this dissonance, which is pure blues. It's magic blues. So we're going to play the ooh-yahoo, 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 dirty 3, and then yahoo. I think that's what we got down there. Yep. So it's... want that chord explosively and consistently through the whole thing. The other stuff is fancy little decorative filler. It's nice, but it's not nearly as important as playing that chord as consistently as possible. It's also acceptable if you, I wouldn't call it cheat, but if you leak air, if you relax your embouchure and you leak air around your lips, around the harmonica, on that exhale where you need to exhale, that's legal too. We just don't want to break the groove. This is one of those things of burning the roux. If you're cooking Cajun and you burn the roux, you got to throw it out and start over. You cannot burn the roux. It's similar here with the groove. You can't break the groove. If you break the groove, then go home. You burn the roux. So ooh yahoo, ooh yahoo, ooh yahoo, yeah. Kind of a E. Yeah, that dirty 3 is not going to come out quite as loud because it's in between. It's not on the backbeat. So, yeah.
Shall we try it?
Let's do it, man.
All right, here we go. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Starting to go into the trance there, you know. This music, sometimes they call it like trance or drone music because you just get into this groove and it just kind of can carry you away. That's when that's when it gets fun, you know. But yeah, that's cool. And I was trying to kind of yell in that cha thing in there too because I just wanted you guys to hear. I think that's the thing, you know. You want to hear that in your head, no matter how tricky you're getting this thing. If, like Joe said, if you lose that, if you're not hearing cha cha. If you're not hearing that in your head, then you don't quite have it. You won't be able to really lock it in.
And this is the first time that I realized that he is trying to go for the same thing on the guitar. We've never had this discussion before. We just really like it either works or it doesn't. It's like, you know, going for a certain recipe. You know if you're rocking on that recipe or if it's not right. So that backbeat chord, I never knew that he was making it as explosive on the guitar as possible and even raising his hand and muting with his left hand. I never knew that. another little interesting thing, you notice I'm playing everything one-handed, and that is because when I do use my right hand on this, I'm making the breathing a little bit more difficult because I'm using extra muscles in my upper body. So I'm just trying to be a role model so you can really understand that you have to breathe differently, and it's hard. It's not easy to do. So that's why one-handed the playing is going on.
One hand and one finger. That's the that's the approach. Okay, cool.